Okay, so today is the 29th of September. And today we're going to be talking about... Oh, God. The Soviets and their nuclear power plants and all the disasters that go along with it. The Katym Disaster, also known as Mayak. It's in Siberia. It's the third worst nuclear disaster in history, and it happened on this day in 1957. The Soviets obviously didn't take too much care about what they were doing there. They just did whatever. They had a little secret town, kept people there, it's all good. And then they didn't actually keep up keeping the place up. Can you believe that? I know there's nuclear disasters in America and there are nuclear disasters in Britain, and there have probably been nuclear disasters elsewhere, and there probably is a nuclear disaster happening in the south of China right now. But these guys had the best people going. It was laziness. And they let it go. And before that, even before they were doing that, they were dumping this waste in a lake that now has been covered over. They've just destroyed the lake because it was so radioactive. They couldn't even have that lake going. So, this was also secret. We didn't know about this until the 90s. I think some people knew, apparently the CIA knew about it, and American intelligence and British intelligence, but they didn't want to come out with this because at the time there was some resistance against nuclear power in the West. There were some suspicions about it, and yes, back then nuclear power was a bit sus. It wasn't the most safe thing that you could do, but they stopped it because they said, well, we don't want our people protesting and doing what they did in Greenham Common with all those crazy women coming up and taking their tops off, and middle-aged women taking their tops off. It's not the best thing. So the British and the Americans said, oh, we know it's happened, but we're just going to let it go. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to pretend it didn't happen. And it was only after the fall of the Soviet Union that we actually found out that it happened. So, where is this place? It is in Western Siberia. It's near Chelyabinsk, which is the great industrial Soviet city, the one that was pretty much built from the ground up during the Second World War. Just beyond the Ural Mountains, near Ekaterinburg, if you know that place, where they killed the Tsar and his family. And this place was in the middle of nowhere, so they could do whatever they want. Back then, the Soviet Union was much bigger than Russia is now. This place was in the middle of absolute nowhere. It was hard for anyone to see what was going on. They didn't have satellites back then. Well, a few, but not the sort of satellites we have now that can look on the ground and look at things that are like 2 inches big. This was very, very remote. And so they had people there. They had people there, 10,000 people in this town, this military kind of nuclear secret town they had there. And they didn't even keep things up. Like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Like, what is it with commies and safety? Like, they just don't give two things, do they? It's just that they dump it in lakes, they dump it in rivers, they dump it in your, washing machine. Like, what the hell is wrong with these people? You'd think just out of face that they did cover it up, so out of face. But you think out of face that they would say, well, let's do this properly, and let's not kill thousands of our own people, and let's not destroy our own environment. Apparently that's too much to ask. So, this day, 1957, it exploded. That's how bad it got. It was a meltdown of immense proportions, and they had to evacuate 10,000 people from villages and farms around. They pretended that nothing happened. They said, oh yes, these lights in the sky, that was the Aurora Borealis. Now what the hell do they think? Obviously people believed it. But there were things like people, their skin was coming off their faces. Their skin was coming off their hands and their bodies. Like, this is incredible. And this was years before Chernobyl happened. Years before Fukushima. Years before Mile Island. It was about the same time as the wind scale incident, but the wind scale incident thankfully happened in the West, where someone had put some scrubbers in the chimneys, so it wasn't as bad. But my god, what is wrong with these people? Anyway, so that is what happened on this day. The craziness of Soviet... what do you even call it? Well, it's just incompetence? Like, I don't know. It's incredible. I don't even know what to say. And the fact that they kept it covered up. They pretended it didn't even happen. I think it was actually Gorbachev that released... Did he release it? I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure on this. But I think he admitted that something happened back then. But who knows? It's... Anyway. Time for us to go. Subscribe. Come back tomorrow. See you then.